So coming up this next week, we're going to start the 3 weeks, Be'ezrat Hashem, that are going to Be'ezrat Hashem, hopefully this year, turn into a very happy 3 weeks with Moshiach Tzidkenu B'mhera V'yameinu. Just in case, just in a crazy situation that Moshiach doesn't come, we're going to learn the halachot, so we'll be prepared. That's just even the slightest chance we should be prepared. So we're going to learn the laws of the 3 weeks, and then if we have time, we'll go to the laws of the 9 days as well. I mean, it's included in the,
We'll start like next Thursday.
3 weeks?
Today's the 12th.
Isn't it on the 21st?
Yeah, so I think, no, next week. I think Sunday.
9 days will start.
Huh?
The 3 weeks start Sunday.
Yes.
And 9 days will start.
9 days is the
12
Shabbat.
days later.
Right. Okay, here we go. Hamakor leben hametzarim. Where did it start? Where did this minhag come from that we called it ben hametzarim? The 3 weeks ago. Ala pasuk be'echad. There's a pasuk in Echad that says, Kol rodefeha hisiguha ben hametzarim. All its chasers, those that chase her, will find her, will reach her, will get to her ben hametzarim, in between the Mina metzar karatia, from the depths. Darshu Chazal, Hachamim tell us. Elu hayamim sheben shiv'a asar b'Tammuz v'tisha b'av. This pasuk is referring to the 3 weeks between Shiva Asar b'Tammuz, 17th of Tammuz, until Tisha b'av. Shebahem nichnesu ha'oivim l'Yerushalayim. That's the date that our enemies penetrated and went into Ir HaKodesh Yerushalayim. And at Shebayom Shiva B'Av, until the 7th of Av, it was basically 17th of Tammuz, when they broke down the walls, went in to Yerushalayim, and they started their killing siege of the people until the 7th of Av, where on that day they entered the Beit HaMikdash. On the 7th of Av, they entered the Beit HaMikdash, and on the 9th day of Av, that was the day that they started burning the Beit HaMikdash down. Just a side note, we do not understand the depth and the tragedy of losing the Beit HaMikdash, because we just don't. We're not in that realm to understand what the Beit HaMikdash even meant. Just to get an inkling of what it was, if you ever visit Eretz Yisrael, and you go to the Kotel on a tour, not on a Shabbat, they have a new attraction there, a few years old, that I've been taking kids on the tour. It's just a 20-minute attraction. It's a virtual reality, where you wear these virtual reality goggles, and you sit in a room, and they've basically made the virtual reality model of the Beit HaMikdash. So you put these things on, and you find yourself inside the Beit HaMikdash, according to all the details of how it was built and what it looked like. So you sit in there, and it's just magnificent just to be able to look up and see how far up the gate goes. You feel so small, understanding that literally the Beit HaMikdash, the highest point was a 17-story building. It wasn't a small building. And you see the magnificence of it, the pillars, the colors, the gold that was used in the walls and the pillars and the oh my gosh, it was beautiful. I had kids crying, looking at the things. Just they would take off the goggles and you see tears, like wow. Then you start realizing what the Kotel stands for. You see this wall, and you think to yourself, the Kotel HaMa'aravi, I want to go to the Kotel HaMa'aravi. The Kotel is so good. We want to go daven at the Kotel. We should be zocher to go daven at the Kotel. Right? That's what we think. Last year it hit me. It was last year or 2 years ago when I was there. It just all of a sudden hit me. I don't want to go to the Kotel anymore. We shouldn't daven to go to the Kotel anymore. We should daven that the Kotel should be once again reunited with the temple itself and become a part of the Beit HaMikdash. That's what we should really ask for. It doesn't suffice anymore. We shouldn't be satisfied with the wall anymore. You know, the wall is Kodesh Kodashim. The Gemara says the only place that the Shekhinah of Hashem has not left is the Kotel HaMa'aravi. The western wall, the Shekhinah of Hashem is always there. That's where its presence is felt. Why do you think all these people come and they're all at awe? You could be Jewish, non-Jewish, it doesn't matter. You come there, you're like, I feel something. Everybody feels something at the Kotel, right? Why? Because the Shekhinah is there. That being said, however, that doesn't mean we should be comfortable with the idea of sticking with the wall forever. Hashem wants that remnant to be there so that we'll come see the wall and be like, wow, this is magnificent. How magnificent was the actual building that went with it? We should yearn for that. So next time you're there, definitely go on this. You'll see it. It's on the side. You know, it's a yeah. It's a part of that. The registration area is the same thing. You'll see the. It's a 20-minute thing, but like I've done it 4 times now already. Each time it's like you look around, you see the Kohanim doing the Brikat Kohanim up there. You know.
Like a natural looking rendering?
Very. It's crazy.
Like the stone in the walls is like the Kotel stone walls?
You could see. No. You'll see. You have to experience it. The people they put in there are real. No. The people are real, not animated. Everything is very real. You see real people.
It's based off like everything that Torah describes there?
Yes, that and based off of archaeology and what they found in the second temple period, how it was built and what it looked like. We have a lot of information, Baruch Hashem. Jews wrote everything. We wrote everything down.
Is it the same, the second and third?
No. The second temple was, there were differences, not in what mattered, but in design, meaning in artistry, it was different. It was different. Okay, so now. Okay, ברכת שהחיינו. נוהגים להימנע מלבוש בגד חדש ומלאכול פרי חדש בימי בין המצרים. We have a minhag that we do not say the bracha of Shechianu in the 3 weeks between, we'll call it Ben HaMetzarim, so everybody knows Ben HaMetzarim, we're talking about the 3 weeks. Right? In Ben HaMetzarim, we do not say Shechianu on a new fruit. Let's say you just found a new fruit that has the bracha of Shechianu, you haven't had it before, or you haven't had it in the past year, so therefore you need to make a Shechianu. You do not make a Shechianu in the 3 weeks. You bought a new suit, or you had a new suit and you haven't worn it yet, you cannot make a Shechianu when you wear it, so you can't wear it because you need to make a Shechianu on it. Right? We'll get to that. Because obviously we can't in these 3 weeks say Shechianu v'kiyamanu v'higyanu nazman hazeh. You know, thank you Hashem for bringing us to these wonderful days. The bracha doesn't make sense. You know, these days that you're in right now aren't such good days. So we can't really say the bracha of, oh, thank you for reaching us to these wonderful, beautiful days. Right? However, when it comes to Shabbat, on Shabbat, you want to make a shechianu, new clothing for lichot Shabbat, then you can. Or you have a fruit, you leave it for Shabbat, then you can make shechianu on Shabbat. What happens if you have a new fruit, right? And you just made, let's say it's ha'etz, you made boreh peri ha'etz, now you need to make shechianu, you just realized, oh my gosh, it's a new fruit, I can't make shechianu. But I made ha'etz already. So what are you going to do? So the halacha is recognizing that what we do in terms of these minhagim of not doing shechianu and stuff, they're minhagim, they're customs. They're customs of sadness. They do not override halacha in a place where, God forbid, you're going to make a mistake in a halacha. Therefore, if you just made ha'etz already, now you want to make shechianu, you should make shechianu. Don't lose out on the bracha, because okay, it happened. There's a minhag of not to be sad, but now you don't want to have to be stuck in a situation of bracha levatala, making a bracha for no reason. Because you made ha'etz, you need to eat the fruit, but you also have to make a shechianu. You shouldn't eat the fruit without making the shechianu. Therefore, you should make the shechianu, even though Even though in these times we should refrain from making shechianu.
Are you obligated to say the Shechianu?
Yes, if something is new. Yes.
Even though if you know,
If you know, then you shouldn't.
you shouldn't say the bracha at all.
You shouldn't have the fruit. Because you can't make shechianu.
Okay.
See, if you don't make the racha, you don't eat the fruit. But you can. The Jew can. Now, another addition to that halakha. Let's say there's a new fruit, and you know you're not going to be able to find it after Tisha B'Av. Right? It's not going to exist or whatever, Eat Out Market brings it once a year in these 3 weeks, and it's going to be gone because when Eat Out Market brings one thing on sale, I don't know what, I'm just saying, let's say there's a fruit. I don't know. I don't know if Shachar Avadum has shechianu. Things like that. No. See, no, there's an issue of fruits that are not ripe. As in what the bracha would be even. Forget shechianu. Like we have gorgeous habs, which is not. It's like these plums, right? The question is the Gemara says there's a whole question of what the bracha is, even though it's a plum, but it's unripened right now. So is it ha'etz? Is it ha'adama? Is it shahakol? Because you're eating a non-ripe fruit, right? Normal people don't do that. Okay? Shachar Avadum, for instance, do you know what it is? It has nothing to do with badum whatsoever. It's not an almond at all. It's a peach. Yes, it's an unripe peach. Yeah. See. Huh? No, Shachar Avadum is peach. Plum is gorgeous apps. You see? No one even thinks about it. Yeah. Shachar Avadum is a peach. Yes, sir. If you have a peach tree, you would know. Because that's exactly what peach looks like when it's growing. Yeah. Yes. Credit goes to my wife because she's the one who enlightened me also. My wife told me, I was like, what?
A peach seed. A peach seed is poisonous, but then you can eat it ripe.
A peach seed is not poisonous.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, you don't eat
Well, I guess when it's not ripened,
You're not eating a peach seed.
it's in there.
It's expensive.
Yes. It's a delicacy. It's a Persian delicacy. All right. Anyway. Oh, okay, so now, if there's a fruit that you're not going to be able to find later to make shechianu, then even in the 3 weeks, you could make shechianu. Even if it falls after Rosh Chodesh Av, which means now the 9 days have already started. Right? Which is more strict on these minhagim. But if it's a fruit that you're going to lose out on making the bracha of shechianu, this is how important these brachot are. If you're not going to be able to make the shechianu, make the shechianu now. The importance of making brachot, of blessings.
What about the week of Tisha B'Av itself?
He says, even after Rosh Chodesh, which means the entire 9 days. The entire 9 days. Mi shechole afilu ma'at. Someone that's even a little bit sick. They can eat any new fruit that they haven't had and make shechianu. Because fruits open the person's what's it called? Oh my gosh. No. You'll be able to eat. Appetite. Thank you. You see, it wasn't that hard. It's not coming. They open your appetite. So if it helps the person be able to eat and be healthier and nourish them, then yeah, you make the shechianu and you eat it. Ketanim. Kids, children that are under the age of bar mitzvah, they can make shechianu on fruits, they can make shechianu on clothing, because that's chinuch for them, it's teaching them. And they're not bar mitzvah, so they don't have the chiyuvim. They don't have those same obligations. Milah bepidyon upidyon haben. Now, what if you have a brit milah or a pidyon haben during these times? A father that had a brit milah for his son, or a father that had a pidyon haben for his son during these 3 weeks, obviously he makes shechianu during the mitzvah, because you do a brit milah on your son, you make Bezrat Hashem, you make shechianu, right? Obviously you can make that. Any son, make shechianu. You make shechianu a second time also, because it's a new mitzvah again. It's not going to be within the year. It's the baby. It's the baby. The baby is new. So you make shechianu. What if it's the same son twice? No, that doesn't happen. I thought you were going to ask that question. No. I got you. And he says, Rashai gam laniach sham peri chadash, you could even leave a new fruit there, right? Or if you have new clothing, you could leave it there, or have it there. And have in mind, when you're making shechianu on the baby, have in mind that this shechianu is on my new suit. Or this shechianu is on this fruit also. So you don't have to make the fruit shechianu afterwards. Right? You have in mind. You make shechianu on a new suit, yes. Always. Right before you wear it.
When you try it on for the first time, you don't make it.
No.
But what if you missed it and you didn't say it?
Can we just let's just.
I have a real question about it. It's not when you kick off the tag, it's when you put it on.
It's when you put it on.
With the pants or the jacket?
Oh my gosh. Do not make shechianu if you don't have.
I'm returning it. What if you're planning on wearing one?
Okay. All right. We'll answer that question when we come on Halachot Costco. That's the next chapter. All right. Now he goes into, we go in halacha, we go into some rules that are not really applicable today, but we'll just zoom through some of them. Just one actually, that we'll zoom through. Obviously, one is that a person in these times, in these 3 weeks, should be careful, right? Don't do things that are dangerous. A person shouldn't do things that are dangerous and risky anyway. But during the 3 weeks, you have to be more careful. Also, the Rambam writes that teachers used to discipline their students back in the day. Today, it's not even good to do that anymore. Even al pi halacha, they say today's day and age, kids have changed, mindsets have changed, and so beating students and punishing them physically doesn't work. First of all, right? Second of all, wouldn't be allowed, right? But back in the day, the time of the Rambam, and even after the Rambam, that was discipline. A child was bad or whatever it was, you would get a patch or you would get a check or whatever it was. So so they write that during these 3 weeks, you have to be careful not to punish children, because it's a time that's not so you got to be very, very careful. Chas v'shalom, something bad might come out of it, and teachers have to be very careful not to discipline physically during these 3 weeks, right? Understand that these 3 weeks has like a energy and aura of things that have happened in the past that were not so good for the Jewish people. Therefore, every time these 3 weeks come, we just have to be more careful. Take our steps lightly. Right? כלי נגינה. יש להקפיד שלא לשמוע שירים המלווים בכלי נגינה בימים אלו. We do not listen to music in these 3 weeks, live or dead. We don't listen to music. Orale. Why would you listen to sad music? Don't. Yeah. If you have own sad music, you should speak to your therapist about it. I'm kidding. So now, anyway, many people don't know music altogether. Listening to music altogether after the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed was in halakha is a little bit shady, right? Because after the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, Chachamim did say that a person shouldn't listen to music. How could you listen to music when we're thrown out of our country, where the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed? You're going to listen to music, right? So there are halachic boundaries involved in that, right? And that's talking about Jewish music. Forget about non-Jewish music that I can't even talk about what the Rambam says about people that listen to non-Jewish music. It's not cool. The Maimonides says things that, yeah, exactly. I remember the first time my Rebbe told me that. He sat me down and showed me the Rambam inside. I remember doing this too. I was like, la 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 la. But it didn't help.
How do we know that the non-Jewish music that they had back then had the same effect that it had now?
How do we know that the non-Jewish music then was I don't know. Believe it or not, sweetheart, the world has not changed as much as you think. Hasn't. Things have always been the same. Music has always been about one thing and one thing only, unless it was Jewish.
Wait, so is modern Israeli Hebrew music Jewish?
Okay, we're not discussing these things, okay? Talking about Jewish music is Shevach LaHashem. Jewish music is music that has praise of Hashem or Shabbat, talking about holiness, things like that. Anyway.
But it is that but cool.
Yeah, not cool.
Next subject.
It's kind of...
It happens sometimes.
Yeah, I know, but it defeats the purpose. Anyway, hold on. But however, these 3 weeks, those, so in halakha it always says those that are mekel, they're not stringent, and they do listen to music, right? Which we all do, because in our world, fortunately, we can't, right? So we listen to music. However, during these 3 weeks, we do not listen to music, strictly. Only, umikol makom, besimcha shel mitzvah brit milah, in a simcha of a brit milah, or the seudah of a chatan and kala, or which is in the 7 days of their, sheva brachot, or bar mitzvah, that is that day, the boy is, it's the 13th, not bar mitzvah like, bar mitzvah party that they decided to do 6 months after the kid is, or he's 17 years old, now they're doing this bar mitzvah party. Not that. Meaning bar mitzvah that's actually is bar mitzvah, then you could have music there, even live music. See, that's the thing. It's like music that is right. Music that is not allowed is instrumental music, right? Meaning it's klei shira, klei negina, instruments that are used like violins and things like that. Therefore, the loophole that a cappella is not really instruments, right? So it's just a bunch of guys standing there going poof, 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 and it makes music. I don't know how they do it, right? But what I always answer to that is, listen, it's 3 weeks, and these minhagim were given to us so that we can kind of bring ourselves to the understanding and put ourselves in a certain kind of a mood, an atmosphere that helps us realize our losses. To find loopholes, you'll be able to find loopholes. If there's anything in Jewish law, you always find a Rav that said something different. That's what we're good at. That's how it is. Beit Hillel, Beit Shammai. Rava, Rabba. But then again, these are minhagim, they're customs, and these customs were put in place by the Chachamim in order for us to be able to put ourselves in a certain mood to come to the realization of our losses. So really, listening, for me, it was always it defeated the purpose for me. I'm listening to a cappella. What changed? To come to turn on the music every time and say, you know what, it's 3 weeks. It kind of puts you in a certain, it at least reminds you that there is a time of loss. There's a time of, the time that you have to realize it's different. Now in summer camps, they play music for the kids. Now that's allowed because that's the only way you can get the kids to you got to exercise with them or you do programs with the little kids for participation. That's allowed. Some people were asking, can we go to the mall because there's music everywhere? Yeah, that's not music for you to. If you're dancing around with mall music, again, speak to your therapist about it for sure. If you're that guy in the elevator dancing to the, but that music is not for that it's just background music. That's different. Music that we're discussing is like actually putting on music so that you can get your mood going, like dancing, something like that. No, wouldn't say it like that. Yes and no. Yes, in a sense, it is more strict in some ways. If someone is a teacher of music, a music teacher can continue teaching music because that's their job. However, until the week of Tisha B'Av, let's say Tisha B'Av is on Thursday that year, so they stop teaching music from Sunday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, they don't teach music. Because the week of Tisha B'Av is always more strict than the entire 3 weeks. So you have the 3 weeks. This is how it's cut down to. You have from 17th of Tammuz until Rosh Chodesh Av. Right? That's one. And then you have from Rosh Chodesh Av, which is the 1st of Av, until the week of the 9th of Av. Right? And then you have the week of the 9th of Av. So it's separated into 3. It keeps adding on. The more minhagim add on, more, it becomes more strict when it comes to especially for Sephardim, it becomes more strict when it comes to the week of Tisha B'Av. That week. It could be 3 days, it could be 4 days, it could be 2 days. Sometimes we don't have the week of Tisha B'Av. Like for instance, when Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbat and we postpone it to a Sunday, you don't have the week of Tisha B'Av. Right? So a lot of the customs that we would have on the week of Tisha B'Av, we don't have that year. Like last year, remember last year it was like that. Huh?
Last year was Motzei Shabbat.
What?
Or it was
Yeah,
Sunday
it
also,
was
right?
Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday. All right. Shira b'peh lelo mivui shel keli negina, singing by mouth without any musical instruments is allowed. Even if it's not for bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah or whatever it is, for any simcha, it doesn't matter. Singing by mouth is allowed. Therefore, we have to understand, especially on Shabbats and these things that we have tefillah, we should not diminish the chazanut and singing, things like that, because after all, we are told Tehillim. It says, "Ivdu et Hashem besimcha bo'olefanav b'rinana." We have to serve Hakadosh Baruch Hu with simcha, with happiness, so that we're not taking all simcha out. Singing by mouth is very much allowed and very much promoted. You should do it. You should sing, especially on Shabbat. Sing the tefillot, sing the different mizmorei tehillim. Rikudim, dancing. We should, 3 weeks, dancing is a no-no. We do not dance. Again, obviously, because if you're dancing for no reason, once again, that's something you should speak to someone about. But dancing because you're happy, you want to start dancing, you're playing music in your head or whatever, you should not do. Tasporet, minhag b'nei Ashkenaz shelo leistaper. Ashkenazim have a minhag that they do not shave or get haircuts Mishivasar Tammuz, from the 17th of Tammuz until the 10th of Av. So Ashkenazim don't shave, they don't get haircuts. Mikol makom. However, if a Brit Milah falls or a Pidyon Haben falls in those days, then the Ba'alei HaSimcha, those people involved, which is, let's say, the Mohel, the Sandak that's holding the baby, or the father of the baby, or the Kohen that's doing the Pidyon Haben, they're allowed to, for that occasion, they're allowed to shave and get a haircut. Because it's a Yom Tov for them. It's a simcha. Pidyon Haben, which is buying the baby back from a Kohen after 30 days. But however, in the week of Tisha B'Av, even Ba'alei Simcha, even the father of the baby or the Kohen, even for them, it's not allowed to do haircuts or shave in the week of Tisha B'Av, right? Again, that week becomes even more strict. So even if you have a bar mitzvah that week, or which falls on that date, meaning, or you have a brit milah, however, they still can't do shave. They still cannot get a haircut for it. Even Ashkenazi girls, they're more Ashkenaz is more strict. The entire 3 weeks they do not shave or get a haircut. But however, they're women, they're allowed to. Girls, they got to get a haircut and stuff. Even Ashkenazi. Ketanim, small children, you're allowed to shave. You're allowed to. No, you don't need to shave a small child. Once again, if you are shaving the face of your small boy, you should speak to someone about that. מותר לבני אשכנז לספר את ילדיהם הקטנים שלא להגיע לגיל חינוך עד שבוע שחל בו תשעה באב. Even Ashkenazim can do haircuts for their kids that are under bar mitzvah until the week of Tisha B'Av again. Once the week of Tisha B'Av comes in, even children should not be getting haircuts. Now, Sephardim, that's talking about us, by the way. Sephardim, we only have the minhag to refrain from shaving or getting a haircut the week of Tisha B'Av only. Huh? No, not the 9 days. The week of. It could be less. So let's say Tisha B'Av falls on a Thursday. Okay? From the Sunday of that week until Thursday, you're not allowed to shave or get a haircut. So it's 4 days. This year is what? Okay, this year is Sunday, so there's no week of Tisha B'Av this year. So up until Tisha B'Av, you could shave, you can get a haircut. Sephardim can get a haircut, they can shave. Because that is according to, this is not just made up. Sephardim are not mekel here, they're not lenient. This is not a leniency. This is according to the Gemara, it's according to the Rambam, and it's according to the Shulchan Aruch. The Ashkenazim are just stringent when it comes to this. That's a different reason why. We're not going to get into that. However, we hold according to the Rambam and the Talmud, the Gemara, and we hold like the Shulchan Aruch, obviously. Shulchan Aruch says, only the week of Tisha B'Av, you do not shave or get a haircut. Not the 9 days. The 9 days could be, 3 days of the 9 days, you could still get a haircut, depending on when Tisha B'Av falls. Tisha B'Av is on a Wednesday, then that week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you do not get a haircut or shave. Right? That's called the week of, Shavua Shechal Bo. The week of Tisha B'Av.
We come include the 10th day as well.
Right, so we're going to get into that. Sephardim are a little bit more thing when it comes to the 10th also. Sephardic boys that are learning in yeshivas of Ashkenaz yeshivas in the world, it is mutar for them. They're allowed to still do haircuts and shave and what needs to be done until the week of Tisha B'Av. They don't have to refrain from doing that because they're going to look weird. They don't have to do that at all whatsoever. In fact, Rav Ovadia was very adamant that they should keep their own minhagim. You should keep your minhagim, especially since everybody knows that Sephardim and Ashkenazim and Hasidim and there's everybody's got different minhagim. So no one's going to come and say, especially in the yeshiva, no one's going to be like, you goy, why'd you shave? No one's going to do that because they'll probably tell from your reflection that it's not just a tan. You're a Sephardi, and those are your minhagim. But that's in general in a yeshiva. Everybody knows everyone's different. Some people get away with that, things they do like, you guys don't do that. I'm a Sephardi. We do that. And then someone goes, I'm a Sephardi. I don't even know what you're talking about. We don't do that. All right, we will. Traveling again. Those are like the minhagim of like being safe. If you don't have to, you shouldn't, especially alone. If you don't have to, you shouldn't. Minhag b'nei Ashkenaz shelo le'esed isha b'mei ben hametzarim. Ashkenazim do not get married in the 3 weeks, but Sephardim do have the minhag until the last day of Tammuz. Once Rosh Chodesh Av kicks in, then we don't have weddings. Meaning from 17th of Tammuz until Rosh Chodesh Av, Sephardim are allowed to do weddings. Because that's the da'at of Maran Shulchan Aruch. And you should not refrain from this at all. It is very, very important. If a couple want to get married and the date falls on sometime between 17th of Tammuz until Rosh Chodesh Av, they should and they have to get married. It's a mitzvah that should not be prolonged. It's a very important mitzvah that should not be postponed. They can come till that wedding. Yes, really.
But aren't you not making the wedding joyous by not having music and stuff?
No, you're allowed to have music. If it's a wedding, you're allowed to. It's a mitzvah.
Oh
wedding, brit milah, bar mitzvah on the day, you're allowed to. It's a,
Change wedding. They still have that wedding day?
listen,
It's not like a bris where you have
You-
days to...
you wouldn't believe what kind of decisions sometimes have to be made. Sometimes they're just forced. Circumstances say that I'll have to do that. I was involved in such a case. Yeah, I was involved in such a case where the poor family had a very old grandmother, and they needed to make sure that she's going to be there, and so you have to, you know. Okay. Wow, we did more tonight of that, so we'll just keep the Musar part a little shorter. So we were discussing last time was that chipus ha'emet, meaning the search for the truth. Truth. That's right. Always know that the truth is much stronger with an F. Huh? But he did tell me the truth, though. Thank you. The Rambam writes, the Maimonides writes, this is unbelievable. Avraham Avinu recognized the creator of the universe. You know, people have to understand the story of Avraham Avinu. As a child, you learn that how did Avraham Avinu find Hashem? How did he find God? You have the whole story of him searching. He thought it's the sun, it's the moon, and it's the mountains. You know, it's not a child's tale. It's a midrash about Avraham Avinu and how he searched for Hashem. So the Rambam says that Avraham Avinu recognized and realized God at age 40. That's when Avraham Avinu finally understood that there is a God and who God actually is. The Ra'avad argues on the Rambam, and he says, no, Avraham Avinu recognized God at age 3. Now we know back then, 3-year-olds were not the 3-year-olds of today. No, they were much more sophisticated, much more mature. A 3-year-old was like a 15, 16-year-old of our day and age today. You know, it's not, our generation is very much different than any other generation. Okay. My grandmother got engaged when she was 9. Okay? People even 70, 80, 100 years ago got married very, very early. Not because they were forced to. People say, oh, they were not. They were very, very mature, able to run an entire family when they were 9, 10 years old. If it was halachically allowed, they would have been married at 9. Halachically, you have to be 12. So they would get engaged, and that's how engagements were in all time. Engagements were periods of time. You would get kiddushin, and then you would get married later, 2 years later. You would have shidduchin. Huh? Right, and then we get married when they're 12 years old. That's how it was. Many people I know got married very early. So thinking about 4,000 years ago, it's nothing. 4,000 years ago, a 3-year-old was very, very mature. So it says, the Ravat says, no. Avraham Avinu was 3 years old when he finally recognized Hashem. The Kesef Mishnah says, there's no argument here. The Rambam is not really arguing with the Ravad is not arguing with the Rambam. They're both saying the same exact thing. And here's how he explains it. He says, Avraham Avinu recognized God when he was 3 years old.
And it says like maximum something reached, but it went away.
It's still recording.
It's still recording.
Avraham Avinu recognized God, found God when he was 3 years old. Meaning, at age 3, he realized that it can't be the sun, it can't be the moon, it can't be the mountains, it can't be... There is a creator that's not a body, not a person, the creator that we know of. Avraham Avinu came up with it on his own. He's beyond this realm. He is outside of our universe. And he's the one who has created everything, and he's the one who runs everything. That's the realization Avraham Avinu came up with at age 3. Did he have any proof of it?
Nope.
No. When did he get proof of that?
40.
Age 40. That's when Hashem actually spoke to Abraham at age 40 and said, I am the one you've been looking for. It's me.
Why did God wait?
So basically the Rambam and the Ravad are not in argument here. There's no disagreement here. They're both saying the same thing. The Rambam is saying in actuality when Abraham Avinu knew that he was right was at 40. Right? The Ravad is saying when he first recognized that there has to be a God and he understood without a reasonable doubt that God is our creator was at age 3. So now, what is this telling us? Do you understand what Abraham Avinu? Do you understand what this means? The Kesef Misha clarifies something for us. Abraham Avinu believed in Hashem, fought for Hashem, fought for the Creator for 37 years with no evidence of his own. All alone, being completely threatened. They tried to kill him several times. How many times they checked trying to killing him, threw him in the fire, all of that. But for 37 years, he searched and he waited and he waited. He questioned until finally HaKadosh Baruch Hu appeared to him. What do we do? What do we do?
The opposite.
What do we do? Why did that just happen? Why did that happen? Tom, that's it. That's it. Why did this have to happen? Or questions like, oh yeah, if God exists, how come? Questions like that start. You know? Why did he? And the question that I always like to ask is, obviously you know everything else. You've figured out everything except this one thing that's been bothering you, right? You know everything. You're like Solomon the wise, but this one thing is bothering you, right? Who are we? How much do we really know? Have we researched enough? Have we really looked for Hashem enough to actually know Him? You have to really work to really know HaKadosh Baruch Hu and be close to Hashem. Without it, you're not going to be there. That's not how it's done. Not even Abraham Avinu did that. 37 years, no proof. He was just looking for Hashem. There's a story of Rav Hagaon Rabbi Ezel Harif. His name was Rav Ezel Harif. He was a brilliant man. Brilliant. A Gadol Ador at the time. He had a daughter, and the daughter, they say the daughter was even more brilliant than the father. She was a tzaddiket, she was righteous, she was smart, she was brilliant. So obviously, he wanted his daughter to marry the best. He wanted his daughter to marry a Talmid Chacham, a well-versed Jew that knows Torah back and forth, that has good midot, that has a good head on his shoulder. He had to have all of it. So he sets out on his travels. He goes to a yeshiva and he tells the Rosh Yeshiva, the head of the yeshiva, that I have this daughter and I'm looking for a chatan. And I want to know if amongst your students in this yeshiva, will there be a chatan that's suitable enough for my daughter? Obviously they were very happy. The Gadol Ador is coming to their yeshiva and he's going to pick one of the students. Well, we have top students. I'll have the top students of our yeshiva come. He says, don't bother. I have a different way I'm going to do it. He comes. He had a question. He had a question on the Rambam. And I said, whichever one of your students answers this question from your query on the Rambam, he's going to be the eligible bachelor, the little one to marry my daughter. And he cites this question. And all the Talmidim hear this question and they go work on it. The next morning he comes, he sits in a room, and these Talmidim, these students were standing behind the door waiting to come in to discuss this question with the rabbi. One person comes in, 2 people come, they keep coming in. And they throw these answers, brilliant answers. But for each one, Rav Ezel had an answer for. Not good enough. For this reason, this has this thing missing, this has that. It's not good enough. How about this? But this Mefarsh says this, but this Chacham says. Each one had its problems. They couldn't come up with an answer. Finally, after 3 days, after all the students, Couldn't find the answer. Right? Any answer that would give Rabbi Ezel, he had a rebuttal for it. So finally he packs up and he says, okay, so obviously it's not meant to be. It's not from this yeshiva. Out to the next yeshiva to find a suitable chatan for my daughter. As he gets into his carriage and they start riding away, the driver looks to the Rav and says, excuse me, Chacham, there is a student running after our carriage. Should I stop? He says, yeah, stop. Let's see what he needs. So he runs. He's out of breath. The Rav invites him into the carriage. He says, sit down. Let's relax. So he's out of breath. And he says, yeah, the answer. So he thinks, okay. So the kid's got an answer. He says, okay, catch your breath and then you give me the answer. All right? So the kid says, he goes, no, I don't have an answer. Okay, so we can't marry your daughter. But you can't just leave us like this without knowing the answer. I want to know the answer to the Rambam. So Rav says, he says, you are going to be my chatan. And I'll give you the answer. I don't have the answer either. Says to him, this is a problem on the Rambam that has many issues. And I haven't found an answer myself either. But that's not what I was looking for. I wanted to know who has the love to learn. Who's not going to give up and really want to find an answer? Are you going to be that person that's going to actually break your head to find the answer, the truth? Or are you just going to be trying to be like, okay, I didn't find the answer, whatever. You have to have a cheshek. You have to have a love of Torah. You want to find Hashem in everything? Then you need to look. If you're not looking, you're not going to find Him. The Rambam says, you want to find Hashem? Go out into the wilderness. Look at the plants, look at the trees, look at the animals, analyze them. If you don't find God there, something's missing. Because the world is magnificent. It's full of Hashem. You just have to look for Him. If you're not looking, you're not going to find Him. Sometimes in life, we said this before, we all have questions. Right? And a lot of times in life, we don't find those answers. But most of the time, that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is, because we don't find those answers, we give up. And you have to imagine Hashem is standing up there thinking, just a little more. You gave up just a little too soon. Think about Avraham Avinu. 37 years is a long time to fight the entire world of that time on what we would call a hunch. But he called it a belief. And he was called Avraham Ivri, the other sider. Ivri means the other sider. He was the only one that believed in Hashem. Everybody else was worshipping idols, including his own father. Who are we going to be? Do we want to be the other guys? Or do we want to be the Avraham on one side alone, but knowing that we know the truth? Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.